Year 1134. Fall. The advance of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermons have converted many commoners and nobles of the mantle to the new faith. There are now several temples in Eterna that follow the new canons, with Luke's blessing. This has led to no small amount of anger among the followers of the old faith. Two mighty bishops of the church lead the new faith. One of them is Luke, the patriarch of Arknia himself. Spiritual mentor of the capital province. He preaches all across Arknia, his every sermon adding to the new faith's flock. The other leader of the new faith is Patriarch Junius Diamant, hailing from a great Arknian dynasty. He is the de facto ruler of Astinia province, adored by his subjects. He has founded the Holy Order anew. Junius Diamant rarely preaches, but people believe the Astinian Patriarch attends to the needs of all who convert to the new faith. This schism within the church is growing. The split has furthered the divide between the commoners and the nobles, though thankfully there has been no direct conflict as of yet. But it has become clear that there is no way to stop the steady advance of the new faith. Born from the death of Patriarch Fadus, it grows stronger by the day. Now, the church is in schism, the order is discontent, things are heating up here in the capital. The city that never sleeps. The next few weeks pass by in hard work in preparation for the coming entrance exam at the Imperial College. You grow more and more exhausted with each passing day, so much so that one night you fall asleep while studying another book. When you finally come to, you decide it is high time to get some recreation outside. The city of Eterna amazes you as you stroll through its splendid streets. It is another night, a different night, yet the city is beautiful still. The shining pillar is a slice of light against the dark night sky. The lamps on the facades of the buildings are lit. Night descends on the capital. You don't feel like going back to your books tonight. Recently, you made the acquaintance of several young men. They are children of nobles of the mantle, just like you, sent to the capital to earn their noble titles at the college. You decide to seek them out. Your new friends are having a late dinner on the next street over, loudly discussing their plans for the night. Some speak eagerly of a dueling club, where you can see the most skilled and ardent duelers in the Empire doing what they do best. You have never seen professional duelers fight. It must be far more exciting than Father's fencing lessons, or that fight in the ruins of Anazote. And if luck favors you, perhaps you can even make useful contacts among the noble families in the capital. The others try to convince the rest to take a trip to a certain secret salon. The establishment is expecting a guest tonight, they say. A young lady who speaks about the true state of affairs in the Empire. There are many questions about the nature of the place and identity of the mysterious speaker, but the young men have only one answer. They are forbidden to speak about this outside the club. However, they can take you there as long as you aren't afraid to learn a dangerous truth. There are others still drinking their fill of wine rather than eating. Fencing, they say, speech is nonsense. The place you ought to go tonight, they claim, is the Markian Society, a gathering for those of common estate but uncommon opinions that offers pleasure for everyone. Pleasures of the palate, pleasures of the drink, pleasures of the flesh. Is this not heresy and crime? Perhaps, and yet some of your newfound friends are eager to go there. In the end, your group splits in 3 to spend the night as they see fit. What will it be? A contest featuring the best fencers in Eterna? An establishment both mysterious and dangerous? Or an encounter with people who defy their lot with audacity? You weigh your options. Let's see, the Dueling Club would gain us some valor. The Secret Salon, some scheming. The Markian Society, theology? Huh? I'm almost curious to go there just to see how, because that doesn't seem to match up with the description to me. But, I guess, apparently. But no. And you know, this is where we do need to recognize this is a game with mechanics, and as such, narratively, I do actually think the Secret Salon sounds the most interesting, but scheming is my worst trait, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get that to a good place. So, mechanically, it would be a bit of a waste to go to the Secret Salon, in my opinion. It was going to be between that and the Dueling Club. Since dueling helps with the Valor, which is already one of our strengths, we can maybe push that a bit higher. And maybe get it into that slightly better range of, like, the 17 to 19 range. Yeah, I'm not sure we necessarily need to get any of our stats all the way up to 20. That seems like it might be a bit overkill. But I think getting up at least one of them, we should probably have in that above average range. Hopefully. Now, granted, this might be the complete wrong way to go about this. Maybe what I really should be trying to do is get my lower stats up to that minimum. But, I mean, I'm just looking at scheming. I don't know how many opportunities we're going to get to boost these stats. We need 3 just to get to the bare minimum of that, like, 10. And I'm not necessarily sure if the skill checks yet, if 10... I'm not sure if the skill checks are going to be universally at 10, or if they're going to be, like, 10, 11, 12. Because if they're distributed like that, then even just getting to base level 10 probably isn't going to do much. So we're going to the Dueling Club. You march down the street towards the Dueling Club, which is located in a manor house decorated rather modestly on the outside, but lavishly on the inside. One of your newfound friends nods to the servants, and they let you in. The rooms are stuffy and noisy and filled with tobacco smoke. The sitting room is enormous. In the center is an arena, a circle with wooden railings. 2 young nobles are fighting there already. You take a glass of wine from a servant and watch the fight from one of the many soft chairs. You cannot bear a sword yet, but nobody says you cannot watch. As soon as a dueler is wounded, the fight ends. But the way they fight still makes the audience gasp and scream in awe. When a dueler is too slow to dodge, the duel ends with a bright red line cut through his sweat-soaked white shirts. The thin fencing swords cut through the air so quickly you only see glints of flashing steel like lightning in a storm. You do your best to remember all the feints and tricks you see tonight. They'll come in handy when you earn your own sword. But then a tall young Arcanian enters the room. He barges in from behind you, and leaps into the arena between the 2 fences, thus ending the duel. He bears a coat of arms with a griffin. This Arcanian hails from the great dynasty Orgriff. The Arcanian's voice booms as he challenges everyone in the audience to a duel. He sneers smugly. "If you consider yourself nobles, then how about you fight an Arcanian lord in honorable combats?" No one moves. No one dares to step forth. A duel with an Arcanian is suicide, especially if that Arcanian hails from one of the great dynasties. Such a duel will end with a lesser death at best, or with a true death through trial and execution at worst. Everyone knows the punishment for spilling blue blood, and so everyone remains silent. But I mean, like, if he's inviting it, then, like, I feel like there should be an exception there. Now, granted, I do live in real life in a society where, as far as I'm aware, dueling is just not a thing that people can do legally, but still, I mean, if you're gonna have the duels, then if this guy's gonna offer it, then I kind of feel like you shouldn't penalize other people under the penalty of law for accepting the offer. But I mean, I'm not one of the priests or anything. I don't know. Anyways, the Arcanian grins. "So humans are cowards," he says. "You will never be true nobles if you are never ready to risk a lesser death. Then Arcanian honor and tradition is not for you, and the war is not your domain either. For humans, nobles are but a mockery, a gathering of animals, dressed to resemble higher beings." A man leaps onto the arena. He is tall as a tree. His pockmarked face is white with rage and covered in scars. There are whispers of reverence in the audience. This is Marth Verasti, the owner of the club. He has accepted the challenge for the honor of all human nobles. He has yearned to fight in Arcanian all his life. Now's his chance. The duelers salute each other, and Sir Ferasti begins the attack. A lunge, a jab, another, and then another. The young Arcanian deflects each attack like he knows his opponent's every move. Sir Ferasti's eyes twitch with tension. The owner of the club lunges again, but the Arcanian deflects his sword and rips the weapon out of the human's hands. Marth Feresti looks at the Arcanian in confusion, then bows his head in recognition of his defeat. The Orgif youth flashes a proud, superior grin. His fencing sword lifts the sleeve of his defeated opponent. It bears 3 black marks of lesser death. Now the young Arcanian eyes Sir Feresti with a mockery of sadness and compassion. Why, it appears the overeager ex-commoner is on his last life. Feresti shudders as he asks the Orgif youth to be so kind as to spare his life. Nobleman to nobleman. The Arcanian's face grows dark and grim. His sword stabs deep into Feresti's chest. Then the Orgif youth speaks loud enough for everyone to hear. He is the only noble in this hall, he says, and everyone who saw this must forget the dueling club ever existed, and leave this place never to return. The nobles scowl, dress reluctantly, and leave with quiet resentment. No one dares to defy the Arcanian openly. The noble, gathering, disperses outside. You return to your lodging house, lost in thought. Arcanians stand far above humans. They do not care if you are a commoner or a high-ranking noble. In their eyes, you are only a human. It seems there is nothing that can readily oppose Arcanian power. They are the masters of this world, and humans are pale reflections of them at best. The trip to the dueling club ended on a grim note, but you learned a lot from watching Eterna's best duelers in action. You recall their lunges and blocks before you sleep, rather than the master of the dueling club being murdered in cold blood. (1135) Year 1135, Spring. The Code of Laws. You are on your way to the largest library in Eterna to study for your entry exams. It is right next to the college. The streets are full of people. Everybody is excited. You hesitate for a few seconds, then let your curiosity get the better of you, and head towards the place where you'll soon study. Before long, you hear shouting. The Great Chancellor is about to give a speech about the future of the Empire! You cannot possibly miss this. You mix with the crowd and soon find a convenient place to listen and watch what is about to unfold. On the steps of the college, you see a small tribune guarded by 2 Arcanians armed with swords. This is the first time you've ever seen an Arcanian standing guard, let alone 2 of them. The doors of the college open to reveal a stately Arcanian surrounded by an honor guard. It is he, Cornelius Tempest, Great Chancellor of the Empire, younger brother to the Emperor himself. He heads for the tribune and casts a look over the square. It is full of people in awe and utter silence.
Long ago, humans witnessed the Arcanians' arrival. The 2 nations built the empire side by side. The provinces joined us one by one, and Magra was the final province to attain the absolute might and majesty of the blessed Arcanian Empire. Yet, there was another great event long before that. 1,000 years ago, the twins had graced us with their presence. With their arrival, the twins granted us their will. They showed us their love and their law. They granted us knowledge of what awaits us in the hereafter. They chose the dynasty of Tempest to rule the empire, and from that day forth, our dynasty has ruled this land, ordained by the gods themselves. However, it is our duty to the twins not to seek power for power's sake, but rather to lead the empire to further prosperity, and so the Great Imperial Council is soon to review and adopt a new set of laws called the Creed. Under the Creed, all estates will be granted rights. Under the Creed, there will be one law for all Imperial citizens to obey, human or Arcanian, from the lowliest commoner to the Emperor himself. The strife among the estates will end. A single law will resolve all of our quarrels. Glory to the Empire! The Great Chancellor throws his arms into the air. The crowd murmurs and applauds in approval. Cornelius Tempest casts another look over the crowd and leaves. The crowd disperses. The sounds of agitated discussion are everywhere. Is it true that the Emperor's dynasty seeks to grant equal rights to all estates? What will happen to the Empire then? Power has decreased. Or increased? It increased. Struggle for power. The girl from your past. It is early morning. You have been awake since sunrise studying. There's a knock at the door. Is it a letter from your home? Or a hotel servant? You open the door and freeze, stunned.
Hello, Brant.
Before you stands Sophia, the girl who used to live next door. She's all grown up now. She looks so different, but you would always recognize those blue eyes, no matter what. You gesture for her to come in. Sophia enters the room, glances around, and sits in an armchair. You eye the girl you used to know as you sit across from her. But the young woman you see now has little in common with the girl you used to know. There's a cold steel in the way she looks at things. Her hair is cut short, but what is she doing here?
I can explain. I've been living in Eterna for a long time now. Ever since I ran from Anazote, I heard the other day that you'd left for the capital to get into the college, so I found you, and here I am.
You ask how Sophia learned about your arrival and where you are staying, but she answers your questions with an enigmatic smile.
We'll get to that later. Right now, I want to see how much you've changed since we last saw each other. As for me, I've changed a lot. I'm a whole different person now.
You look away as you recall your previous encounter, back when Sophia ran away from her Archnean master. Sophia chuckles as she continues.
Would you like to know what happened next? I traveled through the entire empire, all alone. I had nothing. My journey ended only when I reached this place, the capital, with all its important people and events. This is the heart of the empire. It's a place where I can make a difference. I've made friends here, found people I can truly call my family. I've even gotten an education of sorts. And I have a purpose now. I fight against injustice. I fight against lots. I fight those who treat our lives like mud on the pavement. And no, I'm not afraid to tell you that I came to you for a good reason. I need help. I know you. I have faith in your good heart. And besides, this is also about the Imperial College you want to enroll in. There is a scholar there by the name of Bartholomew Dextra. He teaches natural sciences at the college. Dextra is an old man, but he's quite progressive. He'll stop at nothing to advance science and acquire new knowledge. As you know, only second-generation nobles or above are allowed to teach at the college, but Dextra, he is a commoner. He forged his patent of nobility to get a position at the college. But the secret chancellery recently learned of this. Dextra is about to face true death for this forgery. But how is that justice? A man wants to teach people, and for this they're going to take all his lives? They're going to punish him for the crime of being born in the wrong estate. It's evil and obscene, and I will not stand for it. Dextra deserves to be rescued, not resurrected. We don't quite have that sort of reach and influence. But I don't want to put anyone in danger, so I need your help. You're from a rich family. You're almost a noble. If you help me get Dextra out of the city, nobody will suspect anything. No one will know, and the scholar will live on to continue his research elsewhere, far away from the secret chancellery. Will you help me?
You feel perplexed by Sophia's sudden request. She's asking you to break imperial law and undermine the work of the secret chancellery to save this scholar. Rescuing Dextra would be an adventure, but it would also be incredibly dangerous. And besides, Dextra is a fake noble. He resorted to lies and deceit to get his current position.
How much does this matter to you? Sophia's blue eyes are studying you, waiting for your reply. Okay, I can't assuage my guilt. Because... why not? Well, not that I really wanted to. I think I would have... I would have needed merciless relations with Sophia, which luckily I don't have. I can refuse, gain some valor and diplomacy. And Sophia would dislike me. Or I could help her. Scheming and valor. I do want to get the valor up. Sophia would like me. And... yeah, I'm not opposed to getting scheming up, just to be clear. Let's go on a little adventure. You promised to help Sophia. Bartholomew Dextra does not deserve this. He has to leave the capital. She can count on you. I knew I could count on you. Then we must act at once. There's no time to waste. Dextra is to be arrested tomorrow. Here's his address. Go there as soon as the sun sets. No one will suspect you. Dextra often tutors young men for the college entrance exams. Tell him the owl sent you. Use the back door to get out. A carriage will drive up to the backyard. The driver will hoot like an owl. He'll take you to the south gate. If the guards stop the carriage, just talk your way out of it. Once you're outside the city, Dextra will ride away in a different carriage. You'll go back the way you came. I'll meet you in Majesty Square. You nod to her words, and your hands start to shake. You're about to go against the secret chancellery. Are you going to help someone escape punishment? To defy your own lot like this? It's unthinkable. When the sun sets, you leave the lodging house and walk quickly, glancing over your shoulder repeatedly. Bartholomew Dextra's house must be somewhere around here. You find the place. A genteel old man opens the door. His face is covered in wrinkles. His shoulders are stooped, and yet his eyes are sharp and lively. Bartholomew Dextra looks at you for a moment, then asks why you have paid him a visit. You tell him you want to enroll in the college and are looking for a tutor. Dextra nods and invites you inside. Once you make sure nobody else can see or hear you, you whisper to the scholar about the real reason for your visit. The secret chancellery will be coming for him tomorrow, and he has to leave now to escape true death. Dextra freezes, then turns to you. How do you know about him and the secret chancellery? You tell him the owl sent you, and has provided for his escape. As for the secret chancellery, they want him for forging a patent of nobility. The moment you utter Sophia's name, the lecturer calms down and starts packing for the journey. You watch him distractedly and notice that he lives in a rather austere fashion. It does not take him long to pack. You hear the quiet clacking of hooves in the yard. Carefully, you and Dextra proceed to the backyard of the building. You see a carriage there. The driver hoots quietly. You get in. The carriage rolls down the road. There's tense silence in the closed-off space. Inside the carriage, the scholar wrings his hands anxiously. Through the carriage windows, you see the massive city gate passing by. You're almost outside the city, but then a loud voice reaches you. Halt! The driver obediently halts the carriage. Two city I'm assuming that's a military. Honestly, I thought that was gerrymanders, but that doesn't make any sense. It's gendarmes approach you. You leave the carriage to face the Guinarde, the dudes, before they can get a peek inside the carriage. They look you over and ask where you are going so late at night. You tell them you are the son of a judge in Magra, here to enroll in the college, and right now you wish to visit the estate of a newfound friend. To convince them further, you mention the name of a noble son you have become friendly with. The dudes release the carriage and wish you a pleasant trip. You drive along the high road until you encounter a peasant wagon. Dextra will take it to seek refuge far away from the capital. Before the two of you part ways, he pats you on the shoulder and tells you that you have done a truly brave deed. You return to the city without incidents. You find Sophia in Majesty Square as agreed. sitting on a bench by a streetlight, reading a book of some sort. She closes the book when she sees you, and offers you her hand. So, did everything go according to plan? You nod. Then we've earned ourselves a bit of free time. Let's go. You set off on a walk through the maze of narrow back streets. Finally, you have some time for questions. What happened to Sophia over the last 2 years? She was just a girl before, a servant. How's she now a revolutionary? Sophia just smiles sadly. You've seen what I can do. I'm not just a girl. The Inquisition caught up with me when I ran from Anazote. I ended up in the House of Humility, a dreadful place. I got collared. Do you know how it feels to lose your free will? Losing everything that makes you... you? She unclasps the tall shirt collar that had been hiding her neck all this time, and you see the round mark from the anti-magic collar. They say a scar, like this, will remain even after a lesser death. But I got lucky. Patriarch Junius Diamond saved me. Ooh, now that's interesting. So the new faith is involved in this. Diamond took me and other mages from the House of Humility and removed our collars. He made me one of his attendants. He taught me that there are no lots. He told me that I'm like this not because I'm a freak, but because it's my nature. He told me I can find a path to the twins like anyone else in the world. And then I was taken. I got out on my own. I found my own lot to protect the common people from the noble yoke. To help others who are as unlucky as I am. To fight for a different world. A world where everybody has equal rights. A world where mages don't get robbed of their will just because of one aspect of their birth. A world where the nobles no longer tread upon the commoners. Yes, this is our dream. But we are still so far away from it. But I will keep moving towards it, and I'll stop at nothing. A strange, distorted expression appears on Sophia's face, but she quickly returns to normal. You keep walking until you are at your lodging house again. For a moment you just stand there looking at each other. Then suddenly Sophia embraces you. For a moment she remains still in your arms and whispers, You should join my cause. If we work together, one day we'll become a force to be reckoned with. I know you came here to find your way, but I'll never believe you really wanted to bind yourself to other people's laws and desires for the rest of your life. The path I walk is dangerous. It's almost hopeless, but it's worth living for. Think about it. Goodbye. Then she withdraws just as quickly and disappears in the dark streets of Eterna. You make your way back to your room, exhausted by the events of the day. Was this really just a single day in your life? Alright, we have gained some scheming, we've gained some valor. Seasoned warrior, inexperienced, we're all good.